The next mission we're going to talk about is Mission 15, the Load Cargo Mission. For this mission, there are only 3 new game pieces we want to introduce, and it is these 3 gray shipping containers. At the start of the match, these 3 containers will all be in the home area here on the west end of the field. However, in addition to these 3 containers, you'll see some other containers. This gray container came from the unload airplane mission there. So this the unload the cargo plane. So this is one of the other containers. It is gray like the other 3, and they are all identical. The orange, light green, and blue containers here are all from the sorting center mission, and the hinged container here is from the unused capacity mission, where you can load the container with other materials. All 8 of these shipping containers are physically identical except for the hinged container, which has obviously the hinge, but all 8 can be used in scoring in this mission. So this mission is a little bit different in that it involves several parts of the field. So one part of the field that it involves are the platooning trucks. So that's this truck as well as the truck that starts in home. You can earn points by placing containers on the trucks. Now you can place as many containers as you like on the trucks, but you can only earn credit for 2 of them. So it is not really worth your time to place more than 2 cargo containers on the trucks. The only requirements are that the containers can be on the truck and touching only the truck. So for example, here the container is on the truck and obviously touching the truck. Here it is still technically on and touching the truck because the loop would be considered part of the truck as far as I'm aware for the rules. However, this configuration would not be scoring because it is on the truck, but it is also on the mat. You could put 2 containers on one truck. You could put 1 container on each truck like this, and you can even put your containers like this. Now it's important to note here that this container is on the truck and it's actually resting against the other container. Now the rule said the container is on and touching only the truck, but the rules go on to say that containers can touch, oops, let me make sure we get the rules up here. Containers can touch each other. So these 2 containers are touching each other, and that is the second blue line in the description of the mission. So this still counts for both of them. This 1 container is worth 10 points on the truck, and then a second container on the trucks is worth another 10, no matter where you have it. So you can earn up to 20 points on the trucks. But that's not all there is to this mission. We also have the train. So we're going to move across the field all the way to the east end of the field where we have the train. And you can place the containers in the train as well as you could the truck. So Taylor's demonstrating by placing the containers on the train. They can also fit snugly into the each individual cart. Now, one thing you might notice, if you take 1 container and stack it on the other one, only one of those containers is scoring because only 1 container is touching the train. So if you do that configuration, you've only actually scored 1 container, and you would need to put another container somewhere on the train to actually get credit for the second one. So remember, the containers have to be on and touching the train. So if you were to reconfigure it so that you only have the 2 gray containers, 1 in each cart, or if you were to have both of them on a single cart where they are not stacked, that also counts. So anything like that is how you would earn these points, and each container on the train is worth 20 points, but you are limited to 2 containers on the train, so you can earn up to 40 points. So that's 20 points for the trucks that you can possibly earn, and 40 points that you can possibly earn for the trains. Now, if we turn toward the north end of the field, we will find the cargo ship. Now, in an earlier mission, we dealt with the the east deck of the cargo ship that has the lime green container on it. For this mission, we're going to deal with the west side of the cargo ship, which if you tap on it, can see that it swivels. And so that's one of the things we check for at the start of the match to make sure it's hanging freely. And you can place a container on the west deck of the cargo ship. Now, this is a balancing act because if it falls off, you would lose the points. But placing one container safely on the west deck will earn you 30 points. It's important to note that the container is allowed to touch the gray pieces on the deck. So if Taylor, if you could just point those out, what we're talking about. Any of these gray pieces here on the west deck, it is okay for the container to touch those or rest up against them. And you can place up to 2 containers on the west deck to earn points. Now again, if you stack them, you would be losing points because they have to actually be touching the west deck or the gray part on the west deck. And each of those is worth 30 points for a maximum of 60 points. So that means that you can earn 60 points from the cargo ship, you can earn 40 points from the train, and you can earn 20 points from the trucks. One thing to note about the trucks that we did not talk about is just like the platooning trucks mission, in order to score any points for this mission, the trucks must be outside of home. That's the empty area to the west of the mat and the launch area. So here on the mat where they are for their typical mission, that's a fine location. But if you move the truck at all into the launch area or into home, you would lose, or the rest of home, you would lose those points. So make sure that both trucks that are carrying containers, if both are or just one, that you have those outside of home. So not in the empty area to the west of the mat and not in the launch area. And remember that if the containers are stacked like this, you would lose points. They can't be solely supported by each other. They have to be at least partially supported by the truck and not supported by anything else other than possibly another container on the truck. So in all, you can earn 120 points in the load cargo mission. However, you'll notice that there are a few interesting containers in this mission. These 3 containers, remember, are all from the sorting center mission. And the orange container, if it leaves the sorting center, you will lose points for that mission. Fortunately, you have enough containers that you don't need to use this one, but that's something to keep in mind. Furthermore, we have the hinged container, which is only used in the unused capacity mission. However, if the hinge for any reason opens, like you see here, you would lose points for your unused capacity mission. That is because that mission requires a completely closed container that has a hinge. So when you're doing this mission, if you are planning on using the hinged container, you take extra special care to not open it. And of course, this all goes back again to the Rule 22 at the end of match scoring. For example, if you have your cargo ship set up and then during the mission something happens and knocks the west deck so that the containers fall off, you would lose those points. Now, up until this point, we've talked about scoring in isolation, and with Mission 15, you can score 120 points. However, you cannot score all 120 points in Mission 15 and all of the points in Mission 16, and you'll see why in that mission. But that is Mission 15, Load Cargo. It involves the 8 shipping containers that you see in various places on the field, but you only need 6 of them to get the total points for this mission.